We're now in position to start our general proof. Let's suppose we have a charge Q. Let's make that positive. And let's look at the following closed arbitrary surface. So here we have an arbitrary closed surface. And what I'd like to do is surround this closed surface inside the charge, not surround it, but let's put a spherical closed surface here. So this is a spherical closed surface. Let's call that S1. The outer one is S. Now, here's the interesting thing. If you think about the geometry of what I've constructed, I've surrounded Q with a closed sphere. I have surrounding the whole thing a surface S. But I now have a surface that consists of two pieces in some way. It has an inner surface and an outer surface. And I want to call this S prime. So my surface, my closed volume, has an inner surface, which is spherical. It has an outer surface, which is the arbitrary closed surface S. And notice that the charge Q is not inside this surface S prime. So we've already proved that as far as S prime goes, that the electric flux dA is 0. Now, what that means is that there's flux coming into the surface, which will be negative, because that's our E field. And there's flux going out of the surface, which is kind of very complicated, because the surface area is not nice like a sphere. But the fact that the total flux through this shape is 0 means that the flux that comes in is equal to the flux that comes out. So we can restate this statement as the flux E dot n hat dA, and I'm just going to write in. Now the in is the spherical surface. So again, that's the flux that's going into our closed surface S prime is equal to the flux E dot n hat dA out. And the out is our closed surface S. And we've already calculated the flux through a spherical surface. We know that this is Q over epsilon naught, and that's equal to the flux E dot n hat dA. Now our outer surface, closed surface, S. And so we have our next step, which is to show that if I put a point charge in space and I surround it by an arbitrary closed surface, that the flux through that arbitrary closed surface is just the charge enclosed divided by epsilon naught. And we have one last small step to go.